Right, because they do it like the Prime Minister Sunday. Yeah.
The glorification of Wall Street as a small section of New York that runs the financial world, and the capacity to make money in the interest of the elite, and that operates within the predator structure that is encapsulated in this charging bull statue. And therefore, for all these reasons, it should be removed because it's a morally bad symbol. What is our position in this debate? So, Thai government's position in this debate is that the removal of the charging bull is an active step to reduce the glorification that is linked with Wall Street. So, what is our policy? First, we will not just remove the statue of the charging bull, but we will publicly demolish this statue. We will call off an area for people to rally and watch the ceremonial destruction of the charging bull. But of course, there will be like some safety measures that will be taken into, but we would publicly demolish this charging bull. And then the statue of the fearless girl would remain in this current position as we demolish this charging bull. The third thing that we'll do is that the documentation of the charging bull, the documentation that glorifies the bull, such as like in the history or in books, and any documentation that glorifies the charging bull, will be called out and will be seen for its predatorial aspects of Wall Street. And it will also be called out in the new media. So I have one argument in this debate. My argument is, why does the charging bull glorify the superiority of the elitism perpetrated by Wall Street? So the first I'd like to ask is, what is so punishing and violent of Wall Street? Wall Street symbolizes wealth and power of the stockbrokers and the financiers. Stockbrokers and financiers like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and Dow Jones. And the past was fundamental, however, as time progresses, it then consolidates its power at the expense of the investors and the expense of the average people, taxpayers' money. And then secondly, how do they wrongfully get this money? The finance managers, they are not legally fiduciaries. And when their head fund managers make financial recommendations to these investors, all they could ever think about is the commission fee. All they could ever think about is the exercise fee, rather than how beneficial this investment is to those investors. All they ever care about is themselves. And when the Wall Street faces a loss, it is at the expense of the taxpayers' money. Moving on, how does the statue represent Wall Street? And how does the statue glorify Wall Street? The charging bull represents the will and the intentions of Wall Street to make money at the expense of the taxpayers' money. To make money at the expense of the taxpayers. The charging bull represents the brave, the strong of Wall Street, which, like I said earlier, that isn't the case, because all they ever care about is the commission fee, the exercise fee, rather than how beneficial it is to their investors. But before I move on,
elitism, predatory behaviors, unregulated, all these things are things that we already care for under things like legislation. Can you show me the roadmap to why the removal of this one statue breaks all of these problems that you see is so overwhelming in Wall Street?
So that's how I'll now move on later to how does it change? How does it change the narrative when we remove this bullet, when we remove the charging bull? But I'd just like to continue on what I was saying before I took that POI. The charging bull also represents the term bullish. Also was also adopted from the charging bull. And the term bullish in Wall Street is where a situation where a fund manager favorites to invest at the expense of others. So it already just represents like this negative aspect of Wall Street. And now I will answer that POI and how does removing the charging bull change the narrative of Wall Street. Removing the charging bull would then reduce the outward glorification and the outward glorification that is linked to Wall Street. The tourists that flock these areas, the tourists who flock these areas and they'll grab the balls of the charging bull to just so they could get good luck in making money when they invest their money into Wall Street. This money-making idea came at the expense of these investors, these innocent investors who the fund managers and the financiers do not care about, because all they ever care about is the commission fee and their exercise fee. And removing this charging bull then reduces the internalization that is linked with the charging bull. Because Wall Street, because the charging bull symbolizes that Wall Street is composed of only being right, that them stealing money from taxpayers or them stealing money from innocent investors is not wrong, and that it is okay to do so. So the parallel is that the symbolic nature, such as other statues like Cecil Rhodes, who was a racist and a perpetrator to slavery, was removed on Oxford University for its historical weightage, and also Calhoun College in Yale University its name was also then changed to an African American scientist because it symbolizes oppression. So the conclusion that I'd like to draw in this debate is that removal of this oppressive identity frees and paves the way for a more balanced depiction of Wall Street that is not based on power and that is not based that, oh, no matter whatever Wall Street does, they can get away with it. So with all that I've said, I'm very happy to propose.
I intend to speak on MIDP.
The most important meaning of the charging bull to us right now is the symbol of the hidden misogyny and sexism that Wall Street is guilty of. This misogyny and sexism hasn't gone away, and so shouldn't the bull. Two standards to which the bull has to be judged by in terms of whether it should be removed to us. Firstly, is the relevance of its meaning to us in status quo, and the most important meaning and standing out meaning it currently has to us. But secondly, what does it do in terms of solving the problems of Wall Street currently? But before I move on to two questions in this debate, firstly, a few responses. What does the bull actually mean? So we just disagree that it's most prioritized meaning, of which the bull means that it glorifies Wall Street in its entire sense, which we don't agree that the bull was built to say that yeah, it's okay for us to steal money from taxpayers or to simply make money in any way possible at the expense of people on the ground. That was not what the bull was built for. It was put in, like Wall Street, is in terms of acknowledging of how our economy has been, or the American economy has been so far, which means that in essence, the prosperity that the economy has gone through throughout the years. So in totality, it isn't to glorify the methods of which people took to achieve that, but at most is to acknowledge how prosperous the economy has been. But even so, I don't think what like people suddenly having this statue there suddenly means it's okay for us to steal or it's okay for us to make money off other people. So the value of the gold in terms of influencing individual choices to make money however they wish is immaterial in this debate. But let's negate all of that. That's not the most important meaning of the goal in status quo. This debate is about acknowledging the relevance or the interconnection of the fearless of the bull and the fearless girl. So the more important debate right now is about how it relates to that fearless girl and its targets within dealing with issues of sexism and misogyny. Because we think that like economic harms or like immorality within status quo isn't caused by the bull, but it's about its relations with the fearless girl. So what changes about that in status quo? If we are willing to remove the bull and still have the fearless girl in place, that means a few things. Firstly, the fearless girl won't have as much meaning or the same amount of impact that it would as it did with the charging bull. So the fearless girl and its personality are being built as a strong woman facing up against the harms and powers and strengths of what sexism has done to like the female body within Wall Street is an acknowledgement of how Wall Street has been problematic in terms of dealing with issues of sexism and misogyny. When you remove the charging bull from like the meaning of what a fearless girl has, you undermine the value of the fearless girl standing there. So instead of a fearless girl standing up against a bull, it's just a fearless girl standing there. So the value of how individuals should be standing up against sexism within Wall Street, you undermine that process, you undermine the value of that issue within status quo. But secondly, what does that also mean? That also means that you're more willing to say or send a message out to individuals that sexism isn't much of an important issue anymore, or that sexism has been an issue which we have already dealt with. So this is similar to what we've done with affirmative action policies, where we just had affirmative action policies, we've seen a few CEOs in directing boards, and we were like, okay, so the problem solved. That's not true. The problem of sexism hasn't gone away, and we can't afford to undermine the meaning and the value of both statutes being together and the interconnection that they both have in the message they send out to individuals. We can't afford to change the impact of acknowledging how bad sexism and misogyny is within Wall Street, especially when we're not going to do anything to fix it after. Finally, my arguments. Firstly, what is the importance of so why is it important? What happens exactly when you take it away? So the biggest problem with that is that when people think it's gone, efforts are more likely to stop because perceptions that people have towards these issues means that it's less relevant or it's less important anymore. The fearless girl has less have a seat. So what happens then is that the discussion of sexism and the element of misogyny within Wall Street is more likely to be undermined, or the presence and the development of that discussion doesn't become important anymore. When you're more likely to undermine the value of that issue, individuals are less likely to take sexism and misogyny as an element of Wall Street that we have to deal with and something that we have to eliminate as much as possible. So when people are less likely to care, when will you ever fix your Wall Street and ever allow individuals or females to get a job or to ever have a chance at breaking the glass ceiling? If you can't prove to us that that issue of sexism will be dealt with, when you undermine it by forcibly demolishing a bull in front of people, that means you're never going to deal and tackle an issue for that sure.
So the premise of your argument now is that you need the bull in order to have engagements on sexism and misogyny, and you say if you remove the bull, you don't have that conversation. Can you tell me how it happens now and why that is moving towards a positive change?
Okay, so what happens with the bull there is it means that there's a higher importance of the fear of sexism as a whole. So the idea of the fearless girl standing there in front of the bull and tackling the issues of Wall Street, the symbolism of which it means women should be up and going against sexism within Wall Street, means it's a bigger deal of an issue. Discussions are less likely to develop when you say or when you show individuals that it's less of a problem now, when it's just a fearless girl standing there and not there's no problems that Wall Street is bringing on women in status quo. So you undermine discussion at the point of which you bring less impact out of that statue, or the message that the statue sends to individuals isn't as strong anymore. And that's the problem that you have to deal with. But finally, why is it extremely important to continue remembering, even if somehow sexism isn't a big deal within their case, and then they only want to talk about morality within gaining money. But even if you don't want to talk about that sexism as a whole, we still have to remember that issues of sexism has to be remembered throughout continuously, even if you don't want to deal with it at all. So it's similar to how we deal with war memorials. Even though war has passed, we need to acknowledge the crimes and injustices that have happened in the past and continue to remember to prevent or to not do that in the future anymore. So we need to continuously remember, visual reminders to individuals that sexism isn't a good thing, and we can't afford to undermine that subject any longer. So if you take away the meaning of the book, if you take away the meaning of the fearless girl, when it comes to how individuals react and respond to the elements of Wall Street, we don't think we should be this way.
Okay, thanks. Please remember
When the stock market opens at 9 a.m., thousands of men flock to Wall Street and strapped in their, knowing that when they pass by the charging bull, they are reminded of the power that they hold in their hands to control the lives of many individuals, even if it means they get to be sexist towards these women. The charging bull represents the power and superiority that these individuals hold in their hands. The removal of that charging bull is an active step to take away power from these individuals. 2 points of rebuttal before my argument. That being, what does the fearless girl represent as a rebel to the predatorial nature of Wall Street, both in terms of finances and in terms of the sexism and misogyny perpetuated by Wall Street? 2 points of rebuttal. Number one, is the bull an actual representation of the finance world? Is it immaterial? So immediately, leader of opposition wants to dismiss this and they say it's immaterial. But understanding their argumentation, they first said that the bull was built initially to represent the prosperity of the American economy, and that now, because we are no longer in good times, it no longer represents that. I don't understand why the meaning of the bull cannot evolve in terms of what it represents. Because if you look at the current evolution of Wall Street, the fact that it is liable for the entire 2008 housing bubble crash means that liability must be attached to these individuals, and that evolution is accorded to the charging bull itself. It's important to take note that you cannot just dismiss it for not being representative of current financial situations of these individuals. But more importantly, given that it represents strength and superiority of these individuals and they make these financial decisions, it's important to hold them accountable to the decisions that they make. And removing that charging bull means that there's one more step to say, you no longer have that power, you no longer have that superiority. They need to engage in the symbolic narrative that you get from the removal of the statue itself. So in conclusion, it was to suggest that there's no discussion whatsoever to the financial world, because we will engage with both types of contexts and they need to come back and engage with ours as well. But secondly, will its presence address misogyny? And the individuals who flock to the charging bull, grab the bull by its balls, because it represents that we make and the investments that we make at the loss of all these individuals. The first thing we needed to show was that the charging bull itself has a historical memory of showing that misogyny and sexism is actively perpetuated, and that the charging bull is a representation of that. No analysis whatsoever was provided to show that that in itself was a symbol of which. But let's give that benefit to show that maybe it does represent that in the superiority and in the power the bull accords, it also means that it comes at the oppression of these women. But what happens then? No, thank you. The presence of that charging bull also means that control is still accorded to the men who oppress these women. And that control is something that hasn't been changed very directly. And we say that that is in itself problematic, because you don't see activists flocking there to say we must now look at this bull and now say this is a problem of misogyny that we must be likely to deal with. In fact, the removal of the bull itself, no thank you, the removal of the bull itself is more likely to garner and empower individuals, because now that bull, because it's seen as a symbol of fear for many individuals, will only be associated with the symbol of fearlessness, given the presence of the fearless girl there. So the conclusion to this rebuttal is that it must first show that the presence of the bull is the only way for us to deal with sexism and misogyny that Wall Street perpetuates. In fact, I will go on to my argument to show why the mere presence, the sole presence, one moment, of the fearless girl is the only way for us to tackle both sides of the context of this debate. Yes?
Yeah, so the value of sexism being in Wall Street is only present because there is the bull and the fearless girl. The moment you take away one value of sexism in Wall Street isn't there.
So when the Fearless Girl was first installed, within a week, stockbrokers pissed off the girl to say that they still controlled and dominated the reality of Wall Street, right? That even with that presence, some authority can still be insinuated by these individuals. The dynamic that you want to perpetuate between the charging bull and the Fearless Girl fails to live up to its expectation given the historical connotation and the weightage that's continuously being placed on the charging bull. In order for you to associate or be pull in an air of rebellion within the Fearless Girl, that person must stand on its own to represent that we are the victors of this at the very end, not one that can still lose to the charging bull. But to my argument, what does the Fearless Girl represent as a rebel to the predatory nature of Wall Street? Is that when it was installed in 2017, it was installed as a symbol for all those who've been victimized by the elite of Wall Street. People who care, the elite of Wall Street, that think that the only incentive for them to care for the investors is one that is on their own. That every time I make an investment, it's because I can get a commission fee, it's because I can get an exercise fee from this. That every time I employ an individual, I can still perpetuate power and authority over the women that I work with, over the women that walk the streets of Wall Street. And the purpose of this statute then is to show that these people, the women and the people who lost their money, should not be forgotten. In fact, they should be empowered to participate and to threaten the position of Wall Street. So what happens then when we destroy the charging bull, and how do we achieve the benefits of tackling misogyny and sexism? Upon the destruction, what you will get is immediate attention to the atrocities the charging bull represents. Because understand that the symbolic destruction of the charging bull means that this in itself is an attempt to destroy or active destruction of the atrocities the Wall Street represents. And when the bull is immediately destroyed, the only thing left is the Fearless Girl. That in itself is a victory that can come, that people can rally behind, that people can relate behind. Because at the end of the day, the goal of opposition in both government is to be able to show that the Fearless Girl is a symbol that has managed to defeat the oppression, and the immediate destruction of both gives more power and rhetoric to that Fearless Girl. How so? If we look at the way in which democratic debates were influenced because of the Occupy Wall Street movement, the creation of the tagline, the 1% against 99% of the world, came from protests like Occupy Wall Street, right? And this was rallied behind in order to protest the oppression of Wall Street. And the only way this can happen better with the Fearless Girl being there, if it's the only, if it's seen as the only thing that can beat up against the rebellion or the oppressive structure of Wall Street. How is this likely to happen? When you destroy the statue and you use the example of Cecil Jones and the changing of Calvin College, immediately represents an active step to remove ourselves the historical oppression that's been there. That removal in itself frees up and empowers individuals who've been oppressed to step up and to come out of this fearfulness that they've been ingrained with, given the power that is espoused by the charging bull. So what is likely to happen at the end of the day when the only one standing there? It's going to be a symbol that seems to be a winner in victory. Yes, I will concede that the problems don't necessarily disappear immediately, but when it is seen as the only symbol, more people will be empowered to participate in the discussions that can help us fight both against financial crimes and against sexism and misogyny. Very proud of the cause.
If you notice in the last minute of Dave's speech, like literally at 7, that he concedes that they're not going to get outcomes that's immediate, that's tangible, what is visceral in nature. And that was the very first question I asked to Tira to be able to elucidate some degree of roadmap, first to be able to understand and determine some conclusive outcome to this. And I think that in a world where the statue became relevant recently, that we need to start piecing through the nuance of the existence of that statue, why is it complementary element when it comes to the world, and why there is removal. And to borrow Dave's word, the victor's narrative that we apparently get once we remove this goal is going to be a stopgap solution of dealing with the actual problem. Because I think this debate about power, elitism, the predatory behavior, and all this shit about Wall Street are all things that we're cognizant about, are all things that we are aware about. Via things like the introduction of legislation to mitigate behavior, to regulate the practices like the Dodd-Frank Act, the Glass-Steagall, the fact that we discuss Wall Street so much during the American general election tells you that we are aware of this issue. What we are unaware of is an internalized and internal and secret element of misogyny that plagues Wall Street when we view Wall Street as an ladies and gentlemen. And that only came to light at the point where the bull and the girl was placed in front of the bull to become such a discourse. Because I think that there was a severe mischaracterization of the proposition to see that the bull is the end-all be-all representation of Wall Street. Because the guy who made the bull came out really angry when the girl was introduced in front of him, because the point of the bull isn't for luck and power and elitism of man, is to indicate the progression of a bullish economy, one that has a steady growth in America, and where Wall Street is a great embodiment of that bullish economy, right? So I think there's a different purpose behind it. But what is important is this symbolic transition and the evolution of that statue once this girl was introduced, ladies and gentlemen. So why do I think this is important? I think oftentimes when we view Wall Street, the overwhelming narrative of politicization, corruption, and all this predatory behavior often tends to overwhelm the narrative that exists in status quo and media to indicate that this is a real and actual and the only problem that seems to plague Wall Street, belying the fact that even in the most successful financial district in the world, is one that's lacking in that regard. So why do I think that there's a symbolic value here? Because I'm going to agree, in some instances, touching the balls means that you're more courageous and you can make better decisions and all that. I'm going to prove by a comparative. Is there a symbolic value in allowing for the bull to remain and be placed in that particular respect, especially with the introduction of the fearless law? The thing that I want to note here, ladies and gentlemen, is that if you listen to a lot of the material from proposition, you will hear phrases like power, elitism, and then once you remove, you break that power, and there's an empowerment here. I think the problem is that the presumption is the removal of a visual object that seems to signify and exemplify the worst of a financial institution means that we are able to constructively deal with that financial institution. I'm going to make a comparative argument that we need a constant and visual reminder to remind us that the world hasn't corrected itself, that the world hasn't properly functioned to the extent in which even the most successful district in the world, that the problem of gender parity and the problem of sexism still exists. Why do I think this is important? If you look at the analysis of provided in the second speech, there's a victim's narrative here. At the point when you destroy the statue, you are giving away to the community by saying you're destroying the structure. What does this do? Often I think there are two outcomes to this. First, to the group of people who are perpetrators of the very same microaggression and the behavior that you see are so traumatic, it placates them. It placates them to the extent where they say the most visual identifier of my behavior and my power and my elitism is now removed, and that seems to be what is generally acceptable in society, and that's enough. I don't have to do anything beyond that. It soothes my conscience to the extent where I think there's no more visual representation. Now people will view Wall Street in a better way. I can continue on in my ways because now it's innocuous. It's less seen by people, right? But secondly, is to the people. And I think that at a point where you see that it's a victim's narrative, it becomes difficult for us to piece through the discourse, to really look at what are the elements that contributed to the growth of disparity and what are the elements that contributed to this problem, right? It's the same thing in the debating world as well. I'm going to give you some examples that you seem to like to use, right? In the debating world, apparently, calling someone privileged and calling someone financially able deal with the idea that there is like comparative advantages that are granted to individuals. So by virtue of saying that you don't fulfill the standards of intersectionality, we seem to soothe ourselves and say, well, you are privileged, there's nothing beyond that, and therefore you should feel bad about it. And I think that we often don't piece through the discourse of what it means to be an intersectional individual in this regard. Because I think at the point where we remove one visible identifier or we peg a label onto this individual, we feel good about it. We feel great. Because at a point where someone can come up to in a debate and say, well, you're privileged anyway, they don't look too beyond that, right? And that's the same parallel that can be applied here as well. When you remove the statue, what is likely going to occur is they're going to say, oh, we've dealt with it. We don't really need to look at it. It's the same as affirmative action as well. When people introduce affirmative action for women in the workplace, they felt a lot better. At the point where you have some women CEOs in positions of power, without ever looking into the discussion beyond that as to whether or not being parity and gender equality can meaningfully trickle down to people in all respect. And I think that the bull stood and represents as a visual representation of that. It's the same as when you have war memorials as well. Countries are no longer at war, but the erection of war memorials stands to elucidate that the history of our country was contingent on the bloodshed of individuals, and we don't need to remove that just because we are at a time of peace. So if you're talking about the assholes that are grabbing the bull's ball and they're doing it, they're peeing on the girl, these are the very same assholes that are going to be next to the side of a church anyway, right? These are the enemies that you're unlikely to convince. But you need to engage with people to indicate, like the moderates, or the people who are on the fence, the people who don't see the visual representation of these problems, people who don't work in Wall Street, or people in the upper echelons of Wall Street, to have a visual reminder that our work isn't over, that we haven't dealt conclusively with the problem of gender parity. And I think that's really important, because if you say that a girl now is going to be the winning representation, it is very easy for a person to say, that's the thing, that's the win that you wanted. You don't need anything beyond that, right? And I think it must come hand in hand. So you need to change policies in workplace, you need to change policies in Wall Street at the same time, providing a comparative, continuous visual reminder that your work is never over. The world, I think, in our current generation, I don't think we will live to see a world where sexism is gone and misogyny is gone. And I think that we need to be continuously reminded of that to ensure that some actions that are tangible and some processes can be done where discourse is healthy and comparative, rather than one that just breeds anger, one that breeds resentment, and one that says that we can reach a conclusive outcome and the point will be removed for a statue, because I don't think it dwells into the nuance of the introduction of that statue.
Thank you.
When the Berlin Wall fell, the zeitgeist of an entire generation of people fought, putting their lives on the line, changed. It was the ushering in of a new era, the fall of an enemy. Two things I'm going to address in my speech today. One, to be generous, what is going to happen to the financial industry and what is going to happen to misogyny. So, on the financial industry, so given the characterization that we've given you, the bull is a symbol of how people act in Wall Street. That is, they are strong, they take charge, they are unafraid of making hard decisions. The problem is, like Tira and Dave correctly highlighted, is that oftentimes it is at the expense of the investors. You have all sorts of agency problems in Wall Street. For example, when the agent does not disclose all the information to the investors, what happens is oftentimes the investors end up making horrible decisions and losing a lot of money. And when that happens, the agent doesn't lose a lot of money. In fact, they earn a lot of money through the exercise fees and also the commission that they earn. And also what happens is a lot of corruption in Wall Street. No. So they need to deal with the symbolization and glorification of the horrible corrupt practices that Wall Street does. So there's some inconsistency here, because they said, oh, the bull represents misogyny, and the bull also represents economic prosperity. So I'm really unsure what characterization you want to go for. But if you want to go with economic prosperity, let me tell you why it's so harmful to have the bull in Wall Street. Because when America was in its founding years, banks were the foundation of America, because banks needed to regulate the finances, how money was supplied, and how the economy was. Therefore, a lot of power was consolidated by financial institutions. However, the trust that people had put in banks over generations translated into the banks being able to have disproportionate power over what they do with people's money. This means that this is evident in the lobbying that they do. This is evident in the corruption that they do. No, sit down. Therefore, glorifying the abuse of power is morally abhorrent. If you want to talk about how this demolishing it or removing it is going to be harmful for the memory of that, let me tell you. So we all know the instance of the Berlin Wall falling. There was a significant moment in reminding the people that a new era is coming. Cicero Road's statue, that people don't want it there because they know that it's going to remind them of the trauma that past generations have experienced. They never dealt with that. So they said, but people need to be constantly reminded. But people don't need to be constantly traumatized. You need to deal with the most vulnerable victims in these cases. So would it really undermine the value of the fearless women? I don't think so. Because when Jay talks about the war memorial statues, what you often get get is just the war memorial statues, and you don't have another statue
On
of
the
the people that they fought right next to it. That's what a lot of statues stand alone. They don't always have to have the opposition that they fought over there. The fact that the opposition is absent is a symbol of power. Because what people tend to remember are the victors. There is no representation is important. Without representation, when the memory of something dies, that is the point at which you disempower whatever narrative that they were running. So this is pertinent to what they've said. At the point at which you remove the book, you remove the empowerment of the misogynist that side opposition brought up so much. How does this happen? Because no one just thinks, removing the bull means I can still continue to be a misogynist because the bull is taken away. No. What happened is they're going to think, why was it removed? And think about the reasons why misogyny is bad. And therefore, even if these people don't change, there is the empowerment of people to talk to call out misogynists, to make sure misogynists are as blatantly violent and aggressive as they are. This is for sure.
I'm a little bit confused. With the destruction of the Berlin Wall, you still have problems like anti-Semitism, racism, division, and all these things, which goes to show that some policies can be implemented to deal with that. At the same time, have a symbolic reminder that our job is never over.
Sure, it's never a black and white issue as to whether these things disappear or not. But the question is whether less of those horrible things happen. So sure, there may be legislation, there may be policy that regulates the way that Wall Street acts. But the problem is there are always counteracting measures that informs of lobbyists. Therefore, one more way of fighting the horrible things that Wall Street does is better than one less thing of combating the horrible structures that is Wall Street. So they had to do that.
On that point.
Also, no. So what does bringing attention to the event mean? So when we talk about demolishing the bull, this means, so they claim that the atrocities and all the misogyny will be forgotten. But bear in mind, when such a significant event happens, there will be a lot of news coverage. What does this mean? It means that when they cover the event, they're going to talk about why it was removed, what the bull represented, and why there was an overwhelming consensus as to why the bull was removed. What is likely to happen is documentaries that do not glorify the bull, but talk about why the bull was taken down. Documentaries that are going to talk about the evolution of Wall Street and the evolution of people's perception of Wall Street. Memories aren't easily erased, especially when millions of people have been victimized. A statue is significant, sure, but demolishing it is more important than keeping it there, because demolishing it shows a visceral representation that we are not okay with misogyny, that we are willing to demolish misogyny, and it's not something that we can live with in times to come. So what is their theory that was important? Because if it really represented prosperity, we told you that the glorification is harmful. So when they talked about the symbols of, when they talk about having people to always be reminded of these incidences, we don't think it's fair for you to always have to traumatize these people. Because this means they will also continuously empower the misogynists and the corrupt people in Wall Street. Because so as long as the statue is there, the corrupt people and the misogynists in Wall Street can say, they aren't even able to symbolically take this down. What makes everyone think, or what makes anyone think that they can take this down in reality? Because what's more pernicious is not showing that you are willing to take the extra step and go on the offensive against people who have preyed on you in the past, to go against people who have disrespected you and been sexist towards you in the past. What they need to do is a world in which people are constantly traumatized. No one ushers in the new zeitgeist, and everyone continues to live the atrocities of the past. Thank you.
in the spirit of Ramadan, I think opposition was damn charitable to government today. Because this can't be just a general stop debate about removing a statue and then placating people and making them feel happy about it. It is essentialized to the events of Wall Street and the problems that plague Wall Street, one that's visible when it comes to the elitism and the class they were talking about, and one that's less visible when it comes to the gender parity that we were talking about. Because often when we view Wall Street, and the lens in which we view the problems that are often tied traditionally to Wall Street, is that we view it from a financial lens, corruption, predatory lending, predatory behavior, and all these things. And we never tend to look beyond that, because the presumption is we think that perhaps in the most successful financial district in the world, this isn't the priority for individuals in that regard. I'm going to be talking about two things in my reply, and what I think opposition takes is this. The first is, I'm going to go back to elitism, because you seem to love this, right? And I think that we, from the get-go, didn't contest that the problem with Wall Street also included elitism and all this predatory behavior that we're talking about. Because I think a large part of that is value neutral, right? Because I think it's about creating awareness with the problem of elitism and the structures of hierarchy that exists in Wall Street. All of those things are things that are visible and visual, even without the bold. That's what Hans told in his speech, right? The fact that people had legislation introduced to curtail a lot of the behaviors in Wall Street, the fact that Occupy Wall Street, as Dave said, was there, even without them having to reference to the bull, are all important to elucidate. That the discussions surrounding class and discussions surrounding problematic behaviors surrounding Wall Street will still exist even without the bull. But I think that at a point where there's an evolution, the way in which we view that bull, because this motion could have come out like multiple times over the last few years, but it came out now. Today, like at this point, there's the reason why. Because the media, society, the narrative currently in discussion is the evolution of the way in which we view that issue. And whether or not there's a symbolic representation that needed to be discussed, right? I think people can still be like bad individuals or shitty assholes, even without the bull. By the very essentialization that we were talking about, things like money, things like suits, and walking down that street are all things that can be utilized as a means to discuss beyond that, right? And I think that the essentialization doesn't stop there. So why do I think this is really important? I think that in acknowledging the evolution of that particular statue, that we need to look at the discussions surrounding empowerment and gender parity with respect to the context of Wall Street, and whether or not we discuss those things enough. And I told you multiple times in this debate that the way in which and the frame in which we view Wall Street, often these sort of problems when it comes to gender and equality often take a back seat to the politicization that often plagues Wall Street. Why is this important? In a financial district that becomes the pinnacle of success for a country and becomes a model of what needs to be exemplified for other financial districts like in Shanghai and Toronto, that we don't want people to forget that you cannot discount gender parity even when you're financially successful. And that's what the bull stands for, that your justice and your empowerment doesn't begin or doesn't exist just because you remove the bull. That it is a visual assault on people to continuously be reminded that we are far from over from dealing with the discussions surrounding gender empowerment and gender parity. This weird UI about Trump's cassette tape and all that, right? I think that it existed in secret. We didn't know about it. It came out. It was an audio representation of what that will look like. We didn't know that he was an asshole like this. It's the same here. When you have the symbolic representation, be it a tape or a statue or a photo, that's really important for us to be able to deconstruct the discourse behind it. So say for things like war memorials and statues, you say, oh, but we don't talk about the other side. But it's as if there's only one statue, or it's as if there's only one side of discourse that people can derive from it. The fact that they think it's about elitism and we think it's about gender shows you that there's different kinds of interpretation that people can engage on, and what is currently popular in media and what is currently in contention is a gender and misogyny that Wall Street represents. I think a post-sexist world is really difficult to obtain. I think a post-sexist world is not going to exist in my lifetime. I think a post-sexist world requires you to be uncomfortable and for you to acknowledge the privilege behind your position. But that privilege requires you to deconstruct this idea rather than just assume it's enough to throw a word or a statue or a picture away and assume that we deal with the problem that we're proud of.
The removal of presence of statues does not demonstrate that the problem has been solved. But what it comes down to in this debate is the symbolic value it carries, in that what it represents the values and morals of the people inside Wall Street and outside Wall Street, those who are fighting the perpetrators of such oppression. Two overarching problems with opposition's case before two issues. Firstly, why does the destruction of the charging board say about its past? And secondly, will the fearless girl represent actual change as well if the board is there? So, two overarching problems. Number one, in the LO's and whip's speech, we first hear that the characterization of it being a problem of financial issues does not exist. In fact, it is a lie we hear from whip's speech because it does not fulfill its purpose. We give you many reasons to suggest that even if it does not fulfill its purpose, the evolution of that meaning is still carried out by the statute because of its position in these instances. They say nothing ever happened when the charging board was there, and then you conveniently use the example of Occupy Wall Street. The fact that the charging board was a catalyst behind the Occupy Wall Street movement was so important in order to demonstrate what was important to change within Wall Street. So we think it's important for you to give credit to the fact that we engaged in both sides of this debate. Then they say, oh, legislation is important to deal with all these problems. We're not denying that. We also want legislation to on our side. But what does it come down to? Essentially, because on their side, they could never decide what the statute represented. One moment we hear that the bull itself does not represent racism, but racism is a problem on its own. That if you put the bull there, the bull does not represent elitism. In fact, it's supposed to represent misogyny instead. So there was no clear clarification as to what these statutes represented on their case. But then looking into the issues, what does the destruction of the bull say about the past? Say about power. It says that power is not permanent. That when these individuals walk in there and they constantly have the reminder that this book exaggerates the power they have over women and over the kind of policies that they have, the destruction of that removes that reminder for these individuals because it says that that power is not permanent. That when you walk by tomorrow, you're reminded that now that there's no statue there, you're reminded that misogyny is something that is a culture of order to Wall Street. You cannot get away with it. That the disappearance of that statue means that there's one more attack with your veil of elitism that you have on your side. But secondly, it also means to the rest of the world that such a statute has continuously represented power and continuously represented the fear people have on their side. These are things that are now removed from these individuals. And we see that's why on a comparative, when we use the example of the destruction of the Berlin Wall, when the name of Calhoun College was changed, that's when more people who've continuously been compounded with fear came out to speak about the positive changes that you can come up with. Because it meant that the historical weightage such an oppressive statute carried was now no longer in their way to be able to push forward for the kind of changes that they. That's why we had a reconciliation of East and West Germany. That's why the changing of the name of the college, more African American students came out to say that we now feel we have a place in this institution. The destruction of the bull on our side means that people will not feel they're any longer oppressed, that they are remembered by the financial losses that they face and the oppression that these individuals face as well. But secondly, why does the fearless girl stand there alone? Because no matter what you can do, if you have the bull and the fearless girl on their side, everyone in Wall Street can still say, our power remains, nothing changes. Even if you have a fearless girl, that fearless girl does nothing. And we point to the example of what the immediate reaction of bankers did was to piss on this individual, right? But secondly, if they say there is not a problem and that you need that this removal of statute doesn't solve the problem, yes, it doesn't solve the problem, but because it taps into our moral sentiments, it means more people will rally behind the cause to come out and speak out about misogyny. Because if it is true that you get to remove the historical weightage on our side, more people feel empowered to come out and speak out about these problems. That's when you have more people empowered to make these decisions. Because if they say the bull does not represent anything, it does not represent elitism, and now suddenly the priority changes because misogyny is somehow insidious, that is disingenuous because misogyny isn't disingenuous. Women face it every day, and that means it needs to be placed, and the only person that needs to symbolize this is the fearless woman. Because of the fearlessness and because of the destruction of this fear, these men will not have a reason to believe they are powerful.